Good evening, people. You are locked into Chew the Fat with myself, Daps, and my co-host.
Soups, what are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying?
What is really good? Happy Friday, Soups.
Happy Friday to you too. It's been a good one. You had a good week, actually.
It's been a busy week, right? Busy Friday as well, but if Friday is here, Friday's a busy Friday for us as well. Got a lot going on. This is our first Chew the Fat on a Friday. And this guest that we've got today, he was going to be our first guest, but then because of the way that Flawless's schedule worked, we had to move one to midweek. And I first linked up with him because actually he's the first person that got me on his podcast. So away from what we're doing with Never a Foul and whatever, the first person that got me on their podcast. So mad love for him, and the connection was there straight away because we got a similar opinion on a certain team. So without no further ado, do you want to introduce him or shall I, Soups?
You introduce him. You've done so well so far, so carry on.
So today, our second episode of Chew the Fat, and our guest is Coach Kojo.
Yes.
From 3inMidfield. What is good?
I'm good, man. I'm happy to be here. I told you I've always been like looking out for new podcasts and that. And when I saw you guys, I checked you out and I didn't even realize you guys were like so open. Like I saw Trafford Tunnel, I was like, oh wait, hold on. This is bigger than just that, innit? Like this is a big channel. So I'm super excited to be on. So thank you for having me. And to be second after Flawless is a G. So
he's a personality. He's natural. He's a natural, isn't he? He's definitely natural.
His work ethic is mad as well. Like he does plenty of shows on a daily basis. So shout out to him. I'm glad to be on your platform, man. So thank you for having me.
The good thing about Flawless as well, he's like very personable, easy to build rapport with him, and like Dap said, he's like done the same with you. And we've only been speaking for a little while as well, and I can see exactly the same attributes in you. So I think it's really good to have. Do you think that's a key thing to have as a person who's doing podcasts or who's presenting or producing content and stuff like that for social media?
Yeah, I think the key thing is always to be open. I think what I learned in the last year is I've connected with so many other podcasts more than I did in the previous 4 years of podcasting. Like you guys, Beautiful Game, Tap In. I can go on. The list can go on and on. Even recently, another one called Play to the Whistle. I was like, wait, what's this? Like, it's so good, open and Flawless. I kind of got that from him as well because the first time I spoke to him, without even being sort of like, open about it in the sense of talking too much about it, he just pretty much told me what he does, and I realized that work ethic is insane. The respect he has is ridiculous as well. So I only wanna. I feel like I have those traits.
You know what? I feel like firstly to comment on the work ethic, and this goes through a few, like you, Big Gunner, Yan City as well, Flawless. So many people in this game. The way because especially I don't know if it's this season or every season, but the way that games are falling, right? It seems like there's never a second to stop. And when there's been a game or a game week, you'll find that evening, like the other night when you were on extra time and you and Big Gunner both had to jump straight on another thing to talk again. And you know what? It looked mad easy just sitting here and talking. It is quite easy, but it's draining, It is quite draining.
Tiring, bro. It's tiring as hell. You finish work and you're like, oh, wait, I need to get home. I rush my food. So most of the time when I'm doing my own pod, like me and Kojo link up about 5 minutes early and you come on, you see me and Kojo eating our food quick, just talking.
Yeah.
It's like,
you know what?
There's no rest.
It's funny because I was a big fan before we started doing this because we've only been doing it for like five months, I think. I used to be a big fan. Well, I still am a big fan of Filthy Fellas. If you watch it,
sometimes they trigger me.
You know what? I watch it less since we've been doing this because I don't have no time to watch it. But I still try and get it in. I find it funny, to be fair. But it always used to be there catching a munch during the show, and now I kind of understand it. To be honest, I can only imagine some of these guys down there that are like influencers must have no time on their hands whatsoever.
Yeah, they must be super crazy busy, but that's part of the life, isn't it? As you get older,
Yeah.
like I take. They didn't do podcasts or anything, but I take inspiration from my parents. Like my mum did. She has 6 kids, and while she has 6 kids, she was still doing her uni work, graduated. She graduated when I was born, and I'm the 6th. So that, you know what I mean? And then now she's running 2 nurseries, so she's doing her thing. My dad as well, he's been doing his thing from when I was younger. So my brother, all of them. So the whole family.
Hold time, Mumsy Kojo.
Always.
It is the work ethic we get from our parents, innit? And you know what? You just have to, as long as you get a bit of break. I was just having to tell my missus, like, because she actually says she's got part-time financial advisor, she's part-time personal training nutritionist, and I kind of sat there earlier, like, she don't have a day off, like, she doesn't have, and I'm not saying she's working 10-hour days every day, but she doesn't have a day where she's not thinking about at some point she's going to have to jump on a call or do a PT session or something. Whereas I to be honest with you, like, when I finish this tonight, I've got 2 days off. I'm not on no pods over the weekend, so I'm chilling. Like, but as long as you've got something going on, it just takes up that brain space, doesn't it? So, but anyway, let's get into Coach Kojo. Now, my first question, in fact, no. We all know it's Coach Kojo, but tell us about the podcast first.
Oh boy, podcast. How do we even begin it? I think what I was doing first was when I was on Twitter in my early days, because I've had 2 Twitters on my own personal ones. Footy Says was the first platform I ever jumped on.
Is one of them Twitters a burner account by the
No. So I had an account, then I realized, like, I follow so many people, I have so many people following me, but I was like, I want one just for football. So I made the Coach Kojo Twitter. And the other one I haven't used, since I stopped using it. So I went to the Coach Kojo one and I stayed there. But within that, I was doing other podcasts. I was doing Footy Says. And when I was doing that, my boy came up to me and my other boys, my boy Darren came to me and Kojo and said, yo, let's do a podcast together. So we started 3inMidfield. That's literally how it started. As simple as that, really. And yeah, after that, we kept it going. It was 3 friends that loved the game, doing a bit of banter, a bit of football.
Yeah.
We loved the game. There was no real goal behind it, if I'm being completely honest. There was no real goal behind it. But then you start getting tweeted by certain people, by different people. You're like, we're doing well with this, but let's keep it going. Let's not now change it and try to monetize or anything. Just keep it going. And if it blows, great. If it doesn't blow, we love it. That's what it is at the end of the day. And that's how it's always been. And we've been learning from others ever since. People always ask me who's the third person in midfield because I always see Cahill. I'm like, that's because he's on YouTube. Before on Twitter, when we just had audio, you heard the third voice, Darren. That's our boy from school as well. We grew up together. Okay. So because we grew up together and we knew how each other functioned, we knew how much we love the game, how we speak about the game, and we realized that our dynamic works more than anything. So yeah, ever since that, really, we've just been running with it. We've met great people along the way. We've had opportunities. Those guys, if I'm being honest, have allowed me to have a lot more opportunities because I'm more in the football game. I'm a coach. I do, a lot of coaching and all that. So they've given me such opportunities, like when we linked up with Stel from Shoot the Defense. He offered us, one of us, a chance to go into the BBC radio station, and they said, Michael, go and do it. Like everything that the opportunities that I get now to go on so many platforms, it's because of them. They gave me that platform. They said, yo, go and do your thing because you're in the game a lot more. So if wherever I am, being here right now is always because of them. So I'm forever grateful for them, and that's why 3inMidfield is thriving.
You know what? Yeah, that is a true friendship. Like that, they know, and they're just there to support you and whatever. So that was the guy that was in the middle when I was on, right?
Yeah, Cahill. That's my boy.
Yeah. You know what? And you and him are brilliant hosts as well, because you two just let everyone else. You kind of keep going in with the questions. You moved it along at the right times, because anyone that has me on knows I talk way too much and I need moving on. Trust me, Soups has to do it all the time. We'll be in the middle of doing a top 3 on radio, and I'll start talking about football, and he's like, "We're doing the top 3 right now, and you're talking about Manchester City." So you just covered something there as well. So you are a coach officially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What age group is it that you?
It is varied. I got lucky when I went to uni. I got into a course doing sports psychology and football coaching with Arsenal. I got lucky.
Okay.
So that was within the Arsenal in the community side. So I did that first. And we worked with two guys that were pretty much within Arsenal. So they used to get us tickets for games if there was tickets available. And then one day we... Pardon?
Did you sell them on?
No. There is, yeah. I remember me and my boy, because there's only two of us on that course that weren't United, that weren't Arsenal fans. We were United, and the other one was Leeds. And he was like, I don't support Arsenal. Like, do I want to go? I was like, I can't lie, it's football. I want to go.
Yeah, come on, cool.
Yeah, I was like, football. I want to go. But then he actually went to someone and said, "Yo, do you want to buy my ticket from me?" And then when they saw the ticket and they said £0, like, we're not paying for that. You mad? Like, you're gonna just give it and go.
You know what? That's the thing. That's where you know that that sums up Arsenal though, because any other they wouldn't have that at the bottom. They wouldn't have that 0-0. Like they wouldn't think like that. But Arsenal's board are thinking, we ain't losing no damn money. We ain't losing no damn money.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're at that level, yeah?
Yes. Well, yeah. So I did that, and then they started to give us opportunities in the academy. They funded our level 1s and level 2s. So when I finished with them, I finished uni. I was there for maybe I'd say 3 or 4 more years, and then I started trying to make my own way. I had my own team in Hillingdon, working for an ACS team. Those guys were between the ages of 15 to 18.
Okay.
Good couple of lads.
Level. Yeah,
good couple of lads. Then I worked with my local team. I'm not going to say I was passing my area. I'm not going to say that. I worked with my local team. Those guys were older than me, but that was great to work with them as well, because it's kind of hard getting 30 plus guys in the Sunday leagues to get them motivated, keep going and going. But the way we did sessions with them helped them keep coming on a Thursday, Saturday, and a Sunday. And I've done a summer with Spurs. I've done a bits in here with West Ham. So, and then most recently, because of COVID, I had to come back, but I was working in Spain, doing coaching as well. So, yeah, I've had quite a lot of experiences as a coach. I think I'm at a decent level right now. I still have a lot to learn, a lot to improve on. But the goal,
what's your goal? So obviously you've done all this training. You've had a lot of good opportunities. What would be your ideal role? I want
to be a manager. I want to be a manager one day. That's as simple as it gets, because I would have been doing my UEFA B right now if it wasn't for COVID. So I would have started in 2020 and then continued the course up to whenever it finishes. Because of COVID, I had to leave Spain. This idea was live in Spain until July and then move to Mexico. That's where I would have done my UEFA.
Dang. Okay.
But obviously, COVID happened. That's not completely ruled out. I can still do that at some point. I'm lucky enough to keep the contacts that I've made over the years. So fingers crossed I can get things moving when we get the vaccines and everything starts moving smoothly again. But yeah, my goal is to be a manager at the very minimum, a coach at a football club and a professional football club. I love the game. I've been coaching for a long time, and I didn't get into it just to sort of like just be there. I want to make something of myself and make these guys more than anything proud. You know what I'm saying? Let them know that their son did well, and make my partner proud.
Listen, bruv, if you tell Man United that you supported them for over 15, 20 years, they might give you a role, you know?
It's as easy as that.
Bruv, tell them you had a ticket to one of the class of 90, what is it, 92?
92, yeah.
Tell them you game those games. You never know, bruv.
I could just be like, you know what? One day I saw Cyrus Ferguson and gave him a hug. To be like, yeah, okay, you're in. Come on in. You know the Cyrus Ferguson way. You know how it goes. Come on in.
Yeah. It's got a story in it. It's got a story in that. It will keep the fans happy for a couple of months and whatever. Like Ollie.
Yep, so, yeah. I've got the United DNA apparently because I gave him the hug. So there you go.
Soups, I was just going to say, is your brother? Is it football that your brother teaches as well? Coaches? Yeah, it is. Yeah. He coaches. So he done like a tour of America and stuff like that, and he had an opportunity to coach at New York Red Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
But that was at a time where he didn't know what he really wanted to do. He had to decide between New York Red Bulls and then going and setting up something for himself or having a more advanced position in Dubai.
Okay.
And he chose that. instead.
Okay.
So he took a leap, did that, and but yeah, he does coaches like kids and stuff like that. So yeah, he's done all right as well.
You know what though? I'll be 100. Like from watching, I used to take my nephew, and when he was probably about 9, I used to go every Sunday with him, and I go occasionally with my godson. Hold up, Mario Blacks, who you were on the pod with at the weekend, his little son, and you know what? It's infectious, isn't it? Watching like grassroots football, and just trying to, like, with him, he was a goalie, and like trying to install in him that, look, you've got to come out. You've got to, if those defenders aren't you have no confidence in them defenders, and the ball comes over, just go out. You're the only player that can jump on the ball. Just
command your area.
Yeah, exactly.
And I used to watch. I'm not going to say the name of the team, but I went one week. I said I'd pick him up from training on a Wednesday, and I went there, and I was so irritated. Their training was a game. It was just 5-a-side pitch, 2 teams of 6 against each other, and I was like, how's this training? Like, this is not. And this is like at 9-10 years old. Like,
yeah, I think the idea when people do that is they always think about, if you put them in game situations, they learn better. So when it comes to a match, they can apply themselves in that situation. But the issue with that is you don't get to work too much on individual skills because you don't get enough of the ball, or you never know if you're going to get enough of the ball. You have to put yourself in positions, and at that young age, unfortunately, a lot of young players do not know, or young kids do not know how to do that. And that's fine. I mean, they're kids. They shouldn't be rushed into that. But that's what training's for.
It's quite funny because there's a few things, and it's a fine balance, I find, like with the whole, they rotate a lot at that age, and it's like, and they change positions, they play people in different positions, and it's like, I get it, but at the same time, maybe is that where we're going wrong, that other countries maybe don't do that and do teach them from a younger age? That I hate to say it, like, but you know, when I grew up, certainly we used to get told winning isn't important, it's taking part that counts. And I get it totally, but at the same time, it's like, it's a really fine line. And my godson played for a team that had a lot of skillful players, and then recently, when we were out of the last lockdown, I went to one of his new games, and I said to his dad, like, what's the level like? And he said, individually, they're not as good. They've got 1 or 2 absolute ballers, but as a team, watch. Like, the manager keeps telling them, keep playing out from the back. I don't want you going long. Keep playing out from the back. Yes, we're going to concede some goals, but keep doing it. Trust me. And the way, like, the way they pressed and the way and everything, and straight away I was like, I see what you mean. There's not as many individual talents there, but they're winning every game because they were just like backing each other and whatever. But I think it's really, really infectious. It's something. Do you watch SC Dons?
No, I haven't. I think I've watched them once, but I haven't really.
You need to get into that, bruv. Get into that 100%. If you've got time on your hands, SC Dons, because that is like Sunday League football, but they've got pretty damn big. Like, they get like quite a few thousand at their games and whatever. But yeah. So, how long ago did you start 3 in midfield?
It's definitely about. I think we're definitely in our 5th year now. Yeah.
Wow, so you're one of the originals then.
Yeah, we started when Leicester won the league. So that was 5-6 years ago now. We're in 2021 now, isn't it? So yeah, 15, 16. Yeah, 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years. Oh yeah, bloody hell.
Okay, so you're one of the originals then, because I know during lockdown you've just seen an influx of channels.
Yeah, and you know what it is? It's people ask me why haven't we, or why we're not bigger, because we've been around longer. And my thing is, I think it's down to 2 reasons. Number one, I think at that time we were enjoying it so much as football fans, and we had our Twitter and that, but we weren't too focused on the promotion side of it.
Yeah.
We didn't really push it too tough. We tweet out, we pinned the tweet, and if you liked it, great. If you didn't like it, it is what it is. And we got followers through that normally. I mean, we met Jordan Bryan from Channel 4, who's now become a really good friend of mine. Obviously, like I told you, on to BBC Radio before, so things were coming out of it. And all the people that we follow now have been aware of us. They just, we're just now opening up the connections of bringing more people on, because more, really and truly, to be honest, it used to be more just like maybe following people that just tweet about football and love the game. There was no looking for people that do podcasts or do whatever. So yeah, there's that reason. And number two, I think the time where we really would have taken advantage of it is from, I'd say, 2019, and that's when I moved away.
Okay, yeah, of course, yeah.
And because I had moved away, we didn't have and I certainly did not have the same amount of time to keep doing my podcast. So I couldn't do the schedule that I was hoping for. We recorded a podcast. My internet connection over there wasn't even that great. So when you listen back to it, it looks like an absolute disgrace of a podcast. So after that, while we recorded that, we did, in that period from, I'd say I left in September to when I came back in March because of lockdown, in that time period, we did 3 podcasts.
Well, I was going to say to you, when you were listing your reasons for why, I was going to say, well, you've got a job, you're a coach, like, there's your reasons, like it. It's not, you know, it does take up a lot of time and whatever, but trust me, we've realised that how much time it takes and whatever.
It's like you said at the start. It's like you said at the start, Daps. People think it's easy to just sit in front of a camera and you just talk football or whatever, like, but they don't think about what has to happen behind the scenes. You've got to like generate content. So you've got to get guests. You've got to have subject to talk about. You've got to have like a setup or whatever. It does take a lot of time.
Yeah.
So,
and the other thing is, like, I don't know, but you probably, I swear StreamYard's only been about for a hot minute.
Yeah, it's not been that long.
Yeah, and before StreamYard, like, I mean, we used to, the way we started off running it, we were like recording into OBS, then firing that over to whatever Soups was using to edit it, and it was all just, so all of that. And the other thing is that, you know what, when you're on Instagram or Twitter, getting a follower is nothing like getting a subscriber.
I agree.
Getting a subscriber is a graft, like proper graft.
Yeah, because I mean, look, our Twitter now, no, our YouTube is on 122 subscribers.
Okay.
I know in that time from when we started the YouTube to when we to now, we have followed over 200 and something people, and they followed us back. Not every one of them, guaranteed, obviously, because evidence, has subscribed to the YouTube channel. Yeah. But I learned this from the guys at Built for Game, because I'm always trying to learn every day. Your thing has to stand out.
Yeah.
And I feel like what they did in terms of standing out is their graft of how they've got their guests. Because if you look at their line of guests and how it's now becoming consistent, you think it's a case of you know that they're in contact with this person. So maybe it's just, can you help this person for me? And it's not that simple. They got Michael Richards recently.
Wow.
It took them 18 months.
You know what? He'd be one of my favourite guests, you know.
He would be brilliant. And if you haven't watched that, for anyone that's watching now and you for YouTube,
I think he started a podcast, right? He's just started a podcast, I think, as well himself.
I think he has as well, yeah. Same as Jimmy Carragher as well. So, you know, like, but that took 18 months.
That. What's it called? Spit at Kids.
Oh no. But yeah, no, it took them 18 months. And if you bear in mind, he's been coming a lot more popping in the last couple of months because of his connection with, obviously, Roy Keane, the Sky Sport thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all the comments.
Between them two, man.
The comments about the when the thing happened at PSG with Istanbul.
Yeah.
With all of that.
And the whole fallout of the old Sky lot and the new Sky lot, kind of like the whole black and white situation. Like
exactly. So with that, they've been grinding for 18 months to get the man. And when he comes on, all of that happens within a time frame. So they're like, listen, you can't stop grinding trying to get someone because you never know what's going to happen in the world of football. Yeah. And if their name pops up and they say, yes, I can do this interview, all your content is incredible. You've got so much to build on. And that's what I learned from. So even that now, I've just got someone that's coming on Thursday and he's a West Ham legend. And look at what West Ham are doing right now. Yeah. I can build on that.
Well, hopefully we're gonna done that dance tomorrow. But
they're kind of like my local boys, isn't it? So I need the Hammers to do a little thing. Forget about Man United because they're
in good form, man, proper form. But I think you're right. Like Soups always says to me that like the first thing that Soups and Ty both said to me when we started up Never Fail was about consistency, because I get bored easily and kind of. I get bored easily sometimes and just drift off, and like the numbers sometimes, if the numbers aren't what I like, I'm like, oh, but they've drummed into me, and I get it now. It's just be consistent, keep being consistent. And the other thing is, they always say to me that you can just go viral like that. It almost seems like to go viral, the stars just have to align. Like everything has to just fall in place. One nice hashtag at the right time with the right or the right person comes on your show. Other thing I think is like I'm really conscious of the shelf life of what you create. That like if you create something that is very focused around one particular game, like that shelf life is gone. Like so, if we were here now talking about Manchester City v West Ham tomorrow at 12:30, well by 1 o'clock that whole show is void because.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to see who you've got on Thursday. Still,
he's a West Ham legend. He scored. If anyone that's watching, I'll just listen.
Pablo Zabaleta.
No, that's more your legend. That's more your legend.
Rio Ferdinand.
Nah,
Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard. Let's all dance.
No, this guy played for West Ham, Leicester, and Everton, and you have to think early Premier League years. Striker, decent goal scoring records. Few England caps, but you know how it is with England and selection, so I won't say too much on that. So yeah, if that rings a bell,
after this, I'm gonna find out who it is.
Everyone, tell everyone right now, Kojo, where they can find this podcast and where they can find the show on Thursday.
Oh yeah, so we're on Twitter right now, obviously, 3inMidfield. If you type in 3, the number 3 in midfield, then you will find us. And then if you I'll say so. If you go on YouTube as well, 3inMidfield podcast. You have to have podcast on top. That's when you come up. And now that we've been consistent with our content, everything comes up. It won't be a struggle to find us. In terms of audio, if you're more of an audio fan, 3inMidfield on Spotify, on SoundCloud, and on Apple Music, and probably somewhere else if I don't know. But yeah, 3inMidfield.
And also, we're going to throw 3inMidfield. If I may well have already, to be fair, but if not, I'll throw 3inMidfield in our supported channels as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know what it is? The one thing that we really, really want to the one thing that we're really trying to become, and we're really keen on becoming, is a channel that are willing to collaborate with everyone and work with everyone. And because I think all of us are doing this because it's a love. And none of us own this. None of us created this. None of us were what's the word you always use, Soups?
We're not recreating the wheel.
That's it. And so none of us should be like, no, this is ours, and we're which I know there's one or two big channels that are like that, but I think all of us have got more chance if we help each other. And that's why when you guys reached out to me, that meant a lot, because that was, although I've done podcasts, Ty had done a few others, I hadn't. So to come on another one, and it's helped me already because, like I said, I like to talk a lot. Whereas on that, I was being asked questions so I could talk a lot. But then when I hosted afterwards, it was like, I've spoke. I'm ready to host and ask questions. Okay, I'm really intrigued at who that is now. If James Allison is watching, he will guess because he comes up with these ones.
Okay, he's on Sky Sports as well. Actually, as a pundit, not often, but he is on there quite a bit. So, if that's something to add to it.
So, before we get into your team, I just want to ask you one question.
Right.
All eras, yeah, and I'll make it a bit clearer. We're not talking them wingers. We're not talking Sterlings or Marshalls that are kind of like, don't know where they sit. We're talking midfielders. If you could have any three midfielders in world football, who would it be? And not now, I mean ever.
Ever? Jesus. All right, I'm going to pick the ones that I've watched because it'll be easy to go further back. But I need to go for the guys I got to watch properly. A 3-man midfield. Okay, I'll go for my all-time favourite, Zidane. He has to be in there. I love that man to bits. I think he was phenomenal.
You know what? It's an interesting one, because Zidane, where did he play? He kind of played, because I was a bit young then, but he was kind of like a wide right. Was he a wide left?
No, so he played down the middle, but at times he did play out wide. But it's because with that Madrid team, you had so much quality, you could mix and match. And I think I think that's where the Galacticos kind of fell flat on their faces. You needed a certified team with all that quality. You need to have a certified 11, no matter how good the others are. But they used to chop and change and move around so much that there was nothing ever certain apart from Raul starting because he's the darling of Real Madrid.
Yeah. I would agree with you that Zidane would be in my top 3 as well. And like I said, I only caught the end of his career, but the guy was an absolute baller.
Do you know what? I'm not promoting it, but I heard a little rumor that after the games and stuff, Zidane would be in the changing rooms or outside the stadium smoking, and still producing world-class performances.
I've heard a lot of that. I've heard a lot of that about people in their time.
Yeah, but I think footballers now, if I just quickly say this, is everything. So I mean, I'm not telling for any footballers now, you go and finish a game and smoke. I wouldn't recommend that for anybody. But at the same time, exactly. But at the same time, like Arsene Wenger said, it best for me. The game is less about decision making now, and it's all about athleticism now, and that's where the game is at. So Zidane, I can guarantee, even if he wasn't at his most fittest, the decisions he made on the pitch, 9 times out of 10, were the right decision. Whereas now we look at so many players. A lot of players that we call borderline world class or maybe world class or whatever, even them, you're not even sure if they're going to be on their game in a match. That's where it's scary.
You know what? I think that there's one thing that I watched, and it was only like a minute long. It was when Manchester City first started their channel, right? They used to do interview with players, and this was when David Silva was still quite new, and he got offered. I think it was something like an Eccles cake, right? A delicatessen from Manchester. And they said, here's some, and they offered him one. And the guy had one bite of it, and it was a pack of 6, and then goes, nice. And they go, no, keep them. He goes, no, I don't eat things like that. And you see, like, I hate to say it, but obviously you got your James Milners that are probably similar, right? But a lot of English, and I know from my boy that played for England schoolboys, our professionalism when it comes to these type of things compared to some continental players is just...
Discipline is
so far away. Like,
bro, I spent what 7 months in Spain. Yeah, the way these guys condition themselves. I'm talking about youngsters. I didn't work with old guys. I worked with youngsters. The way these kids, you don't have to even ask parents, what you make giving the kids away with. The kids themselves were looking after what they were eating. Yeah, I understand. Over here, you want to treat your child. I'll never tell someone how to parent their child. That is not I'm not allowed to ever do that to someone because I would never want someone to do that to me when I have children. But I would not recommend after a 90-minute game, the first thing being a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
I understand it. A chance of cheeseburger once in a while is not actually a bad thing. I'm not saying don't eat cheeseburgers at all. But you shouldn't be promoting that sort of as like a gift. Like, let them know that the next thing you need to do is get ready for the next game. Like, don't say, hell, hey, by the way, here's a cheeseburger. Because if you're doing that, they're not training with me every day. So I can guarantee they're not eating healthy every single day. But as long as they stay fit, I'm happy. But fitness is looking good and running and feeling good. And a lot of kids don't maintain that when they go through football.
Right. So Zidane got away with his bad lifestyle or whatever. He still produced great results and great decision-making. Who is your number 2?
This might throw a surprise to people, but I'm gonna put this not of my old time. When I'm doing this by formation.
Okay.
You know what? And I like that because I hate when people like, who was it? Was it Yaya Toure that went on Sky once and his starting 11 was insane? It was like, bruv, there's no formation there whatsoever. Like, what?
No formation, just vibes.
Balance, bruv. So go on.
Yeah. So my second one is actually gonna be Sergio Busquets.
Wow.
And the reason I say that is because the first ever defensive midfielder that blew me away was Claude Makelele. So much so that they called it the Makelele. They called it the Makelele. Yeah, they called it the Makelele position, right? Because for a reason. But Busquets, for me, became the best defensive midfielder in the world at 19. And it became a debate if he wasn't anymore. Debate because Casemiro and Madrid were starting to win Champions Leagues. Right. He didn't drop his level. Madrid just found a new level. That's all there is. But the guy for years,
19, you know what? It's true because he's been about forever. you know what? Busquets is a really interesting one for me because obviously we have who people in Spain label as the new Busquets, right? In Rodri. And until this season, I struggled with Rodri, right? Because when I see a DM, I'm thinking Nigel de Jong, a Mascherano, one of them players that is a dog, right? Whereas Rodri and Busquets, they're not. They're players that are so intelligent that they intercept the ball and they play very deep, but they just keep the ball moving. All they do is they're everywhere, keeping the ball moving. And I think the reason why, and I've come to the realization now that the reason why I wasn't rating it is because last season we needed a dog because our defense was so poor that you needed a dog. Now our defense is sorted. We're fine having a deep lying, ball playing DM like Rodri or Busquets, but in the wrong team. And I think United maybe a bit, and we'll move on to United after this question. One of their issues is that maybe right now with United's defense, they need a dog. And
Fred.
Fred is not the type of dog that you want in your team, man.
Different breed of dog, yeah. Different breed of dog.
It's interesting on Busquets because I think you have to. So right now, your three midfield is based on you having a solid defense, right?
Yep, I need my balance is always the same, whether it's in real life, whether it's on flipping Football Manager or even FIFA. I don't care which way it is because it works for me in my coaching as well. It's worked everywhere I've done. Defensive midfielder holds his block, holds it well. Box to box midfielder and my playmaker works every time for me. So Zidane would be my playmaker. Yeah, he'd be my playmaker. Busquets would be my holding defensive midfielder. My box-to-box midfielder is Patrick Vieira.
You know what? I knew you were going to say one of two players.
Who was that? Who's the second one?
Yaya.
And surprisingly, no.
So I'm not, like, when I list my Man City top 5, Yaya's 5th. I've got a lot of reservations with Yaya, right?
Why so?
Sensational, moving forward with the ball, sensational goal scorer, but it would frustrate me where he could move forward at such pace, but then he couldn't track back runners. And that was my issue with Yaya. When people talk about Yaya being City's best, I'm like, so far from it. Fernandinho is levels above Yaya because of his all-round game. Yaya is a game winner. He's an impact player, but his tracking back was the amount. And not many people that aren't City fans would see it. So they'd be like, they just talk about the good things. I'm like, trust me, Yaya had Nigel de Jong next to him, then he had Fernandinho next to him. If you would have took one of those two away, as a DM, he was awful. His tracking back was absolutely he just looked like he didn't care. Like,
do you think that's why they didn't get him a birthday cake?
But they did. This whole birthday cake to Vassar, bruv. My guy was just dropping. You should know that by now with blooming Pogba and his agent, bruv. So you're going with Vieira, and I rate that, but tell us about Vieira.
It takes a lot for me from a young age when I know I despise Arsenal to look at someone and say, goodness, I would love you in my team. Listen, we were blessed with great midfielders as well. Roy Keane was a great midfielder. I know his sort of myth about him is he's just all aggressive and all that, but the guy can do. Paul Scholes. I was
watching some footage of Keane recently. His passing was on point.
Thank you.
On point.
Thank you very much.
So aggressive, people just moved to that side. But I even was watching it thinking, that was Keane spraying that ball. Damn. And as for your next one, Paul Scholes, he's one of my all-times. I love Paul Scholes.
He was brilliant. Michael Carrick is actually one that people don't really like to shout out.
Yep.
He gets into my all-time United team. When I say that, people are like, whoa, but I love him.
I think the real United fans would probably say that, you know.
Yeah, well, it's whether they appreciate him or not, isn't it? Because he did very different things to what Roy Keane did, but the guy was excellent. But quickly on Vieira, the guy's box-to-box play. You said about Vieira, Yaya, right? That defensively he wasn't so great. There is not one thing that I looked at Vieira's game and thought he couldn't do. Defensively, phenomenal. Going forward, brilliant. Could link up play, could play 1-2. Some of the goals he scored were brilliant. The finishes were tidy. As a leader, exceptional.
So he was captain of of Arsenal, right?
Yep, indeed.
Was he captain of the French World Cup winning side? Did he captain that?
No, he wasn't. It was someone else. It definitely wasn't him though. I remember it wasn't him. But yeah, the guy was excellent on the football pitch. I always say when I ask about Arsenal players, and the whole time I watched them, if there's 3 players that I was jealous that they had, it was Vieira, Henry, and Robert Pires. Those 3.
Well, you know what? I don't know. Bergkamp as well, man.
Bergkamp is exceptional. Technically, for me, the best technical player I've seen in the Premier League ever.
Yeah.
What about Overmars?
Overmars was very good, but I wouldn't put him next to those guys. Because Pires was an inside forward before inside forwards were cool. And his style of play was exceptional to watch. The caliber of goals he scored. When I say to people, I rate him over, for example, like Eden Hazard. People are like, "Whoa, that's insane!"
No, don't get me started on Hazard because I'm not allowed to, right? But my opinion on Hazard is low.
To be fair, you know what? One day when he retires, I'll get you on a show with him because me and you will be on the same page. Trust me. But no, just on Vieira quickly. Vieira was just, for me, if I'm going to be honest, best midfielder in Premier League history.
You know what? I think you're right. I think you're right. What you say is that when you look at Yaya and you talk about Yaya's qualities, like if you watch City, you'd know about his flaws. But I think you're bang on. That with Vieira, it was very similar, but he just had more to it. He wasn't just a game-winning player. He had everything.
He controlled games. He controlled games from
100%.
What a player! So that's my midfield.
So, what the connection between me and Kojo was when I first got on 3inMidfield, I told him how I don't dislike Man United, and I'm not going to do this every show. Tell everyone I don't dislike, but I genuinely tell people that so that they realise that. But I explained to you that it's just settling for mediocrity, and you were like, okay. So I said let's get on a show together and talk about Man United. And firstly, so that people know this, I think Ollie is a sensational man manager. I think how he's kept your squad all happy, I rate that. I think Marshall is not bad on the left. Not bad. I don't think he's amazing, but he's not bad on the left. I think Maguire needs his armband taken off him, but then let him try and defend and give him a bit of a chance as a defender and see if he can learn his trade and whatever. But I know you've got a lot of frustrations with Man United.
Do you know what I feel about United are failing? First of all, our biggest loss, losing Alex Ferguson was, for everyone, the greatest loss. Yeah. But losing David Gill was an even bigger loss for me because we needed that boardroom to be controlled. Like when the Glazers came in, I don't think United fans really deeped how much things changed just because we were still successful. But they weren't looking for us to be successful, in my opinion, because after Alex Ferguson, if you're looking for United to be successful, you will do everything in your power smartly to make sure United get back on top. They just gave money to managers. There was no, Van Gaal was talking about being interviewed and not even being asked about philosophy. So even that, you know straight away that you're just in trouble. But what United have failed in doing and realizing is, I always use Man City as an example. Man United, when we were winning all the titles and all that, people were always talking about money with Man United, that they could spend. My thing is, no, we didn't spend like that. When we spent 30 million, Veron, Rio Ferdinand, Wayne Rooney. Is there anyone else I'm missing for 30 million pounds at that time for Alex Ferguson's era?
I don't think so. How much was Berbatov?
Berbatov, that's the other one. Sorry. Berbatov, 4 of them. That's 4 players. Van Persie was cheaper than that. Yeah. So that's 4 players. Man United were not spending 30 million every year, which at that time was the biggest fee. At that time, that was the biggest fee in Premier League.
I think realistically, if we're talking, your biggest signing for the era, like of all time, is probably Rio, right? Like for the amount it was due to the time and the position, that was a lot of money. But apart from that,
that's it.
That's when 30 million pounds was actually 30 million pounds in football terms.
Yeah.
I think football, your transfer fee doesn't really depict the level of footballer you are, it's not indicative of the level of skill or whatever.
It's no longer about it's no longer about you as a player. It's about what you as a player. No, it's about what the club that's coming in for you wants to offer. That's what it's about. Like,
exactly.
If a club needs a goalkeeper, then and the goalkeeper is the missing piece to a puzzle, then that goalkeeper could go for 150 million just because they need that to win everything.
Exactly, and that's because, I'll use Premier League as an example, because of how much money is now in the Premier League on top of TV. Now you've got the schedule being every team is on TV one way or another. Everyone's making money, so they're not in a position where they were like, if Man United come calling for this player, how can I say no? Just pay the money and go. They don't have to do that no more.
Yeah.
Now, but what I say to that is this: for me, that bit that I just said there, when people say that, I still think that's BS. That's total BS. Because if I use City as an example, what City are doing is this: City have spent a lot of money, guaranteed. Of course they have.
Yeah, 100. We can't hide.
No, 50 million, 40 million, 30 million, maybe 60 here and there. Cool. They spent money. Great. How many of those transfers have broken records? How many of those transfers have smashed records in many places?
Not many.
None of them. None of them. You can't. They haven't got the most expensive goalkeeper. They haven't got the most expensive defender. They haven't got the most expensive midfielder, and they got the most expensive striker. What they have been doing is buying smart, buying from places where, Aguero was a name, but he was a young name, but they took a punt on him.
Edin Dzeko we got out of him.
Edin Dzeko was making his name, but he wasn't a name. He wasn't a household name. I could use many examples, and the reason I say that is because when you look at Man United and look at their model now, I always said that Woodward, within his first 2 weeks, had an interview. He said he's trying to do sort of like a Galactico thing. And my thing is this: you look at Sir Ferguson's best teams. Van der Sar was cheap as hell for Fulham. Everyone was from Monaco. I had no idea who this guy was. Vidic, who the hell knew who Vidic was from Spartak Moscow? No one did. Rio Ferdinand was 30 million. Mention him. Wes Brown or Gary Neville, academy players, and if not, Rafael and his brother Fabio. How much did they cost? They were 2 million a piece because they're twins. Then you go to midfield. Carrick was 16 million from Tottenham, bargain. Scholes, academy, or even Hargreaves was 18 million from Bayern. And despite his injury problems, he actually did what he needed to do. He came, played a key part in us winning the Champions League and the Premier League in the same year, and he scored some quite important goals. Free kick against Arsenal, as an example. Ryan Giggs transitioned to the middle. If it wasn't him, Anderson was great for about two and a half years, but in that time he maximized how much we paid for him. Job done. Nani came in. How much was Nani? How much was Cristiano Ronaldo? Wayne Rooney's 30 million. Tevez was a 2-year loan. If you put all of those fees together, they're probably this much over Harry Maguire.
Pence, yeah. It's pence.
That in itself.
I did it. And what already know where you're. Since Woodward has come in, and you know what? Firstly, let's go back to when you mentioned David Gill, right? Because when him and Fergie first left, because they left about the same time, right?
Literally the same time.
Yeah.
Literally the same time.
And there was a lot made of that. But since then, everyone's kind of just forgot about David Gill going. Whereas at the time, it's big news that everyone was recognising. Whereas now you said it to me, it's the first time for a couple of years I've thought, you know what, you're bang on. And when you're listing all them signings that Fergie made compared to, or Fergie or Gill together as a team, compared to what's going on now. Firstly, I don't think Ollie and Woodward are working closely the way them man work closely. Secondly, it's very clear that Woodward is all about a commercial deal.
Always. The thing is, we've brought in Mike Phelan.
I don't know what he's there for, though. I genuinely don't know, because if you talk about Man United's successful times, yes, he was there when we won the Premier League, I think 2 more years, 2011 and 2013. He was a decent assistant manager, in my opinion, but we all know who the brains behind the engine was. We know who the guy was. Mike Phelan, for me, is a problem because, I kid you not, you go, for example, I'll use the Longstaff brothers as an example of this. The reason why we were linked to those guys is because they're part of his company. He's got some sort of company of which they are represented by him and his company. That's where it came from. That's what United have become. It's use connections that you've got close to the club and then also use the idea of someone like Maguire saying, I support Man United because I was young and all that. It'll probably be the same thing for Madison. If you sign James Madison, it's because you said you support Man United as a kid. There's no real sort of plan or
no old school
intention. There's no real
the player that you need or the player that you want.
Yeah, like you haven't got a guide. Like I look at City, for example. Now, City's situation to how they grew is different to United because you knew for a long time where Pep Guardiola.
We had to play.
Of course,
yeah,
of course. But within your years, you knew that you wanted to bring in Pep Guardiola at some point. That was the overall goal. So you brought in Tixi. I don't want to say his last name because I'll butcher it. But you brought in like loads of different guys into your system. So when this guy comes, everything is catered to him. And then when you guys want players, he will always have a say in who comes into the team.
And the way they do it is sensational. It's like this is what I love about City. The whole structure is run like a business, but it's run properly because they have the right people. So they have Pep, who is football. Then they have the sporting directors that know about transfers. Then they have the business side, and they all know their role. And this person that's involved in the business probably never speaks to Pep. There's no need, right? Pep will give his list and say we're going for a defender, a midfielder, a forward. He will give his top 3 in each one. And then it will be like, well, our budget is this much. If you want number 1 in this position, cool, you're going to have to settle for number 3 in this position and number 3 in that position. And like you saw it on the Amazon show with, I think it was with Van Dijk. And they were like, it got to a point where they were like, do you want him this much? And who knows, maybe we should have, maybe we shouldn't have. But he was like, nah, pull out. Like, it's not, he don't want to be here. So let him go, Liverpool. That's where he wants.
You see the difference. So that's how a club's run properly. They get to go and get best in class, like Gary Neville said. With us, like he said in the comments, where was it? I just saw it.
I saw James talking about finance. What was it? Transfer economies of
economical transfers. Yeah.
We've got Woodward, the banker, and that is it. And he's in control of absolutely everything.
But it's because. Sorry. In 2005, if people remember, the one person that's behind the Glazers coming into Man United was Ed Woodward.
Yeah.
So he knew what the game plan was. All he has to do after that is be patient. I kind of compare him to Triple H. It's like marrying the daughter of the man. He's marrying Stephanie McMahon. And then realizing, okay, I've got a stranglehold in this family now. Now I can learn the business. He sat down next to Vince. I want to learn. Now he's got his own show that he runs on the WWE NXT, where these young guys come, and he's made it phenomenal. Credit to him. And he does. To be honest, he does deserve where he is right now.
It's coming up. It's on. My brother told me about this. It's on the come up, innit? Proper.
NXT is a brilliant show. It's better than the main shows. I'm deadly serious. But on top of that, it's just the way that. It's like he's built everything. So what you have to do is bide his time, learn everything, and then bide his time. So as soon as David Gill left, Woodward said, well, here I am. Now this is my spot, and I can run it how I want to run it. And this is the whole point. See, this is what I mean about building. Because if United was smart, if the Glazers were smart, they would have said to him, hey, you're a good banker. Thank you for getting us in here, but you don't know nothing about football. But they don't care about football.
And this is a thing. I think you and Arsenal are in a similar position where the problem is that, like, if you look at the Glazers, you look at the Arsenal owners.
Josh and Stan, I think.
They don't care that much about football, right? As long as their business is making money. And in Ed Woodward, you've got a guy that clearly is making their money, right? We all saw when Pogba first joined you, how quickly he made his money back. Like...
Pogba wasn't a Mourinho signing. People forget this. They criticize Mourinho for it. And I'm like, when Mourinho came in, they said to him, oh, we've got Pogba coming in, by the way. As if he's going to say no. That's quality footballer. Is he stupid?
The thing is, and James actually put, James Allison, who's commenting now, he put me on this. And the minute he put it on, like, said to me, it all hit home. People underestimate the power of big brands, right? And when you look at Paul Pogba, Manchester United's football kit at the time, and Stormzy,
Adidas thing.
Right? Who put together the perfect three there? Right? The perfect three.
Literally.
Right? And all three of them came up together. Well, United didn't come up, to be fair. United were up already. But they put together the perfect three to come up. And this is a thing that, like, because James was telling me about, I can't remember at the time, but I think at the time he was saying about Mbappe maybe being sponsored by the same people as Liverpool. Because he was like, Mbappe might go Liverpool. I was like, go away. Not a chance in hell. Then he started breaking it down to me. And I was like, I get it. Because if a brand as good as owns a player, they can make, when you're talking brands like Nike, Adidas, Puma, they can make a lot happen. They can make a lot happen. Now, James, however much I run you, you do talk sense for a Liverpool fan. You've just got too many excuses.
No, for me, they're not even. It's not about being an exception to the rule. They're literally using the mold or the system that United used. Look at this. Look at their signings. Again, how many records? I can go through the whole team. Van Dijk, Van Dijk is 75 million. He's still not the most expensive defender in the Premier League. It's Maguire. Alisson is still not the most expensive goalkeeper in the league. It's Kepa. Like you look at that, and they built their team. They built their team slowly. Trent came from the youth system. How much was Robertson? How much was Henderson? How much was Wijnaldum was a free transfer? How much was Sadio Mane, Firmino, and Salah combined? Really and true.
The one thing I would say is, and like, I agree with you 100%, and I do love the business side of football. Is when people use the business side as a win, I'm a bit like, leave it alone. That's not what we're here for, okay? Like, so
we're here for football, like to see great football with our eyes. The eye test.
I do think City are running it now as a good business, and like any business, you take a loss the first couple of years, but then eventually you start reaping the benefits.
But the reason why your business is booming is because on top of doing right things in the boardroom, you have helped the manager build a team to win trophies, and when you win trophies, what do you get? Money.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Like, you're building a team
and a fan base, a younger fan base. Like, our fan base right now, it's not massive, but in a couple of years' time, with all these little youngers that are starting to grow up supporting City, it will be. So we're kind of getting on a bit now. So I just want to, if you could change three things at Man United, and that could be things or players, what are your three things that need changing ASAP?
Ownership, firstly, that's number one. Nothing changes without those bums getting the hell out of my club. Number two, management. Not discrediting, not trying to get onto Ole too much, because I do criticize him, but I will give him his fair share of praise. But I don't think he's the man
get you over the line.
Yeah, because the semi-final record keeps annoying me. It's still on my head. This season, you're still in the FA Cup, you're still in the Europa League. If you win that, then I'll shut up. But as far as I'm concerned, right now, I don't think we're going to win either. But
I wouldn't be surprised if you get to the final of the Europa League. I wouldn't be surprised if you get to the final of the FA Cup. However, the guy will not get you over the finishing line. And I've said it, and I keep putting it out there, saying I am a target at the end of the season. If you have any silverware, I don't believe the guy's got the minerals. He'll make a silly mistake.
Yeah. So today, obviously it was the Europa League draw, round of 16. Yeah. We've got AC Milan. Do we win this game? Do we beat Zlatan?
I'm genuinely not even sure.
I don't think so.
The first thing I saw, this is the funny thing about football fans. The first thing I saw was they hardly beat. I forgot the name of the team that they just went past. But I was like, you're talking about they hardly beat. Okay, cool. Do you know what they've been doing in Serie A this year? I understand. Yes, recently they lost 3-0 to Inter Milan in the derby, but they're still up there.
They get back there, and the thing is, they are an Italian team as well. And we can't get it when it comes to, if you lot want to play your style of football, that doesn't really suit Italian football.
Exactly, and the thing is, we're second in the league as well, but we're in a league right now where things are being questioned in terms of league positions for a lot of teams, bar one team, Man City, because they deserve to be top. But,
thank you.
The funny thing about that comment is that in the last 3 months, every time people come onto my podcast, they say thank you. That felt like therapy, especially Tottenham fans. because they're feeling it right now.
Oh, I feel sorry for them, and I know a lot of United fans sympathise with them.
I don't. Why?
Jose.
Why?
Jose.
I don't care about that.
We had Jose. We had the experience. We had the football heritage. So now it's their turn.
Listen, you know what it is, yeah. Jose, whether people like it or not, yeah, he got me my 2 trophies, bro. So I don't really care to be at this point, bro. They can suffer. I don't care about Tottenham.
No, I don't. You know what? I used to defend them, but recently 1 or 2 of their fans have irritated me. But I still got a little. I prefer them to Arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm moving like Kane.
But I think. What was I going to? No, You carry on. I've just gone out of my head now.
Okay, so I said, what was it? The ownership, the management.
Yeah.
The third thing I change.
Go on. Go in.
I don't want to. Well, I probably will single out players at some point, but the captaincy needs to change because he's not good enough. That's as simple as it is. So you've got an incompetent board. You've got a manager who I don't think is going to be successful for us because he's been to 4 semi-finals and lost all of them. And you've got a captain who, quite frankly, has escaped punishment for doing worse than what Pogba and De Gea got in trouble for when Mourinho was around.
Yep.
That's a problem. Because if I'm in that team, I look, maybe the players respect him, so maybe it's not a big deal. So that's just me doing hypotheticals and doing what I would do. But if it's in that team and I heard that my captain had gone to a holiday, yes, he may have been provoked, but had retaliated in the way he did and asked them the question, do you know who I am? I'll say, who the hell are you? You're in their country, on their land, you are on their turf. It doesn't matter who you think you are. If you have broken the rule, they've put the handcuffs on you for a reason. That's as simple as it gets. He shouldn't be captain. But then again, I always ask the question, who the hell is the captain at Man United anyway?
It's got to be Bruno, right?
Bruno must be the captain behind
Bruno for me is not a leader. I understand this new era of leadership is based on more of ability or because they contribute a lot more in games, match winners and that. But the reason why we gave people armbands is because they were genuine leaders. You can't. I can't go from Roy Keane to Nemanja to Gary Neville, then Nemanja Vidic, and then Wayne Rooney to Harry Maguire.
You know what? It's interesting you just said that because I'm a big leader. I'm one of the main pushers of the whole Portuguese winning mentality, blah, blah, blah. And I do believe it. I think Bruno, I think Bernardo Silva, I think Cancelo, I think all of them have got that from Ronaldo. They've got this proper winning mentality. However, with you saying that, it's interesting because right now at City, everyone is talking about who our long-term captain is, right? And everyone is saying Diaz. And I'm not so sure, right? Now, I'm not doubting Diaz has a big boy winning mentality. I'm not doubting Diaz as a player. But I don't know if he is our long-term captain. Just because someone's an amazing defender, has a winning mentality, that doesn't mean they have to be given the armband. And I kind of feel that maybe with Bruno, that just because he wants to win every game doesn't mean he has to be the guy.
No. So for me, sorry, I'm stepping in here. Like for me,
go on.
It's not because Bruno is obviously he's an amazing talent. It's evident. He's been involved in so many goals, assists, and all that. It's not because of that I think he should be captain. It's because of what I see on the pitch and what I see in post-match interviews and what I see.
Yeah, I hear you on the post-match interviews.
He is so constructive and he's like encouraging and stuff like that. Do you remember Kojo? Do you remember when Lindelof was at fault for a goal? And
and he got his case.
He was screaming in his face, Bruno. So Bruno was scared to try and drag the team up by the scruff of the neck. I don't see Harry Maguire doing that. I don't see the Fridge doing that ever. When I see post-match interviews of the Fridge, he's just saying, "Oh yeah, you know what? We didn't really."
His post-match interviews is like he's just read a script. Like honestly, it's just so that's what tells me about. I'm
dull. He's dull.
There's no personality to him. Yeah, he's got zero personality.
100%. I feel like he's had anything that he did have sucked out of him as well.
I will say this to you though, Daps. I will back the course and make Diaz a captain. I told you how much I was angry that you man got Ruben Diaz, right?
Yeah.
Not only can the guy defend, trust me, I say this with all my heart. That man is a leader and a half.
You know what? And it was just something that's on my mind more about just because you do have the winning mentality doesn't mean you're a leader. Now I sit here and think about interviews I've read and things he says. Yeah, he probably is. And his age as well. And, this is the maddest thing. People don't even take in his age. He's only 23 years old. Jesus. And I know, yeah, he's changed our club. I'll be 100. He's come around and changed the whole mentality of the club. So, yeah. Right. Well, got to wrap it up here.
Okay.
Anything you got planned real quick or any? Well, everyone, you can catch him at 3inMidfield. That is the Twitter. Make sure you add that right now.
Yes. Come and follow us. YouTube as well, 3inMidfield podcast. So all of them, whether you find us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, it's the number 3. The number 3 midfield in midfield. So as long as you find us, we're there. If you're a football fan, listen, follow us. Tell us you're interested in coming on the podcast. Sometimes we just hit you up out of nowhere. We check tweets. I check tweets on a daily basis with purpose. Because when I followed Daps, for example, like even watching the show, I know I wanted him on anyway, but I made sure that I got him on when it was time to talk City because I knew that I'm not going to bring you on where it's like a time where talking about City isn't going to be with a purpose. Like there needs to be a purpose as well and let you talk about your team. That's your team.
The worst thing is I let you down a little bit because when you came to me, I was on my humble one where I was just like, I don't really want to talk my team because my team's doing all the talking.
Yeah, you know what, bro? I'm not gonna lie to you. When you guys win the title, because to me, I think it's gonna happen. I said to everyone that even though the league can change, yes, but I would expect everyone else to drop more points than you.
Yeah, you know what? Jan City was the first one to say that, and I thought it's so true. Someone said to her, "Do you think City are going to win the league?" And she said, "Yes, not because I think we're going to win every game. We're going to drop points. I know we're going to drop points. The fact is, Manchester United are going to drop more points than us. And from we're already above them, and they're going to drop more points than us. And I think that's the thing. Like someone said to me the other day, in the space of a couple of days, we gained something like 12 points or something crazy. We came from that. And it was all because we looked at our February and thought, February's a hard month for us. We could drop some points here. Instead, we went through February not dropping a point. And United just went, here, have a few more as well. Like
draw. Yeah.
We're going to go to West Brom and like drop some points there for you and just make it that little bit easier for you. And it's just like, yeah. But listen, Coach, I'm going to call Coach. I'm going to call you Coach from now on. I'm going to call you
that's
Coach.
Cool. That's cool. I know my boys call me Coach, so that's cool. Join the club. That's cool with me.
Really appreciate you coming on. Got a bit deeper. We know you are officially a coach now. We know you're going to be back in Spain and then Mexico real soon. So maybe we'll link up in Cancun one day. But thank you for coming on. Make sure everyone you subscribe to 3inMidfield and make sure that you follow them on Twitter. Soups, any last words?
No, big up everyone who's like sent comments in and stuff like that. I think James is very eager to get on 3inMidfield at some point. He's
support
Liverpool.
Very vocal.
Yeah, come on. In fact, definitely come on now. Actually, yeah.
Firstly, you on extra time with him at the weekend.
Yeah,
Thiago's father.
Yeah.
Country. Yeah, I wanted him on anyway. So yeah, come on, man. Yeah.
And secondly, he's a level 2 coach as well.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. That's it.
There you go. See it there? That worked.
Yes.
This has been Chew the Fat. I've been Daps. That's been Soups. This has been Coach Kojo. And anyone watching this live, make sure you jump onto onto Lookout Show UK Twitter at 10 o'clock for our radio show. Catch you the other side.
Make sure you get down there.